सान्द्रानन्दावबोधात्मकमनुपमितं कालदेशावदिभ्या निर्मुक्तं नित्यमुक्तं निगमशतसहस्रेण निर्भास्यमानम् अस्पष्टं दृष्टमात्रे पुनः उरुपुरुषार्थात्मकं ब्रह्मतत्त्वं तत्तावत् भाति साक्षात् गुरुपवनपुरे हन्त भाग्यं जनानाम् बाहुद्वन्द्वेन रत्नोज्ज्वलवलय भृता शोणपाणिप्रवाळेनोपाता वेणुनाळी प्रसृतनखमयूखाङ्गुली संगशारा कृत्वा वक्त्रारविन्दे सुमधुरविकसद् रागमुद्भाव्य मानैः शब्दब्रह्मामृतैः त्वं शिशिरितभुवनैः सिञ्च मे कर्णवीथि.
Guru Pavanapure Hantabhagyam Jananam. Namaskaram to all the Astikas. We have seen Brahma's creation. But did we really see the creation happen? No. It was Brahma who was first wondering as to who he was. Then later, upon doing tapas, he did realize and see Parabrahma Nārāyaṇa Bhagavan in his inner eye. Then Bhagavan directed him to do more tapas, and towards the end of it he consumed the waters, he consumed the air, thereby gaining manobalam, tapobalam. Now Parabrahman, Bhagavan, commanded Brahma to carry on with the creation. That is when the creation begins. In the 10th Dashakam, Bhaṭṭatiri takes us through that creation or the creating ability of Brahma and what all he created. Vaikunthavardhita balotha bhavat prasadat ambhojayonirasrjat kila jivadehan sthasnuni bhuruhamayani tathatirascham jatir manushya nivahanapi deva bhedan. Hey Vaikuntha, O Lord of Vaikuntha, atha ambhojayonihi, the one who is born of the lotus, ambhojayonihi, vardhita balaha bhavat prasadat, with the power enhanced by your grace. So he says, with your grace, asrjat kilas thasnuni. So he says, those which are created which can't move, trees, mountains, say mountains, trees, they are all things that are created but they cannot move. So there is one set which is absolutely non-living, like the mountains which can't move. Then you've got the trees which have life in them but they also cannot move. Asrjat kila sthasnuni. So then he says, bhuruhamayani tata, that which grow on earth. So trees do grow but they don't move. Those which grow further, they are found on earth but they tatha, in a similar manner, tirascham jatihi manushya nivahan. So you have tirascham. So you've got animals, tiryak, you've got birds that fly. So sura, nara, khaga, go. So we say khaga, right? Birds. They fly. There are animals which walk on earth. Tirascham jatihi manushya nivahan. Alongside the human beings, deva bhedan api jiva dehan. Then these jivatmas are placed within the human bodies. Those are also created. So we have manushya Sura, Nara, Khaga, Go, Bhogi, Gandharva, Daityehi. So we have Sura, Devas, Nara, Narajati, human beings, Khaga, birds, Khaga, Go, the animals, the four-legged animals, Bhogi, reptiles, snakes and other reptiles, Gandharva, the celestial beings, Daityehi, those with a tamasic or a rajasic guna. So all this has been created. So he says, Bhuruhamayani tatha terascham jatihi manushya nivahan deva bhedan api jiva dehan. So whenever this word jiva is used, we have to be careful. Jivatmas are never created. Paramatma is eternal, perpetual. Jivatma is also as eternal as Paramatma. Jivatma is never created. Then what happens to the Jivatma? Jivatma coexists along with Paramatma. But for Paramatma, Jivatma is the Shariram. So there is a Sharira, Shariri Bhavam. There is a very symbiotic organic relationship. This relationship of the Jivatma, which being the body, the Shariram of Paramatma, exists. Now when the Srishti that we see around, this universe that we see around, is the Sthula Srishti. It is there. Our Shariram itself is Sthula Shariram, that which is in a gross state. So we see it. In a subtle state, the Jivatma now, which becomes the body of Paramatma, goes to the Sukshma Dasha. The state changes. So remember, the state changes, whereas the Jivatma isn't created, it is perpetually there. Then what does he mean? For that Jivatma, a Shariram is assigned, a body is assigned, either based on its Purva Janma karma or the accumulation of karma or Bhagavan's mere Sankalpa Shakti. Deva Bhedan api Jiva Dehan. So this Jiva Dehan, that body is acquired. Next, Mithyagrahasmi Matiraga Vikopa Bhitihi Ajnana Vrittim Iti Panchavidham Sasrishtva Uddama Tamasa Padartha Vidhana Dunaha Tene Tvadiya Charana Smaranam Vishuddhyai. Then what did Brahma create? He has created a world that comprises of insentient, non-moving objects. The mountains and the rocks that we see, they are in a way sentient because the Jivatma is attached, but they don't move. The trees. Then we have the Jivatmas given different bodies, like that of the bird, like that of a reptile, like that of a deva, like that of a manushya. All this is created. So the Chetana Vastu is placed within the Shariram based on the karma. This was also understood in the previous shloka. Here he says, Saha Srishtva, after having created whatever he had to create, Mithyagraha. Mithyagraha is that misrepresentation or interpretation. This Shariram has a Atma. But whenever I say I slept well, that I is the Jivatma. What slept well was the Shariram. But by mistake, we assume the Shariram to be the Jivatma. This is the Mithyagraha. Asmi Mati. Asmi Mati, that egoism, that I am the one, that Asmi Mati. Raga, which is attachment. Vikopa, that anger. And Bhitihi, that fear. So be it fear, be it attachment, be it anger, be it egoism or misapprehension. All of this, Saha Srishtva, that Brahma having created. Now after having created the early one, he has created this also. Iti Panchavidham Ajnana Vritti. See, all this will lead to Avidya, Vasana, Ruchi, Prakriti Sambandham. Avidya, Vasana, Ruchi, Prakriti Sambandham. So there is always a vicious circle. You get angry. Then why do you get angry? Because you have had attachment on something or somebody highly. Why do you have attachment? Because of ego. Why is that ego there? Because you have always assumed the Shariram to be the Atma. That is the problem. So with all these things, Mithyagraha, Asmimati, Raga, Vikopa, Bhitihi, finally comes fear. All these five things, he says, Iti Panchavidham, Ajnana Vrittim, that which comes as a result of Ajnanam, or which will give rise to Ajnanam. So it is a vicious circle. So Brahma has previously created the insentient and the sentient. When I said created, from the Sukshma Dasha to the Sthula Dasha, when it happens, he has assigned a Shariram. Alongside, he has created this Panchavidham Ajnana Vrittim. Thereby what happens? Uddhama tamasa padartha vidana dunaha. After having created, because of the tamasic qualities, he starts repenting. That is where tene tvadiya charana smaranam, resorted to contemplating on your holy feet, vishuddhyai, for the sake of self purification, for the sake of, I have created all of this as a paschatapam, as a prayaschittam. What should I do? Brahma thinks about it. Tene tvadiya charana smaranam vishuddhyai. He starts thinking of the lotus feet of Bhagavan. Bhaṭṭatiri says, Guruvayurappa, he starts thinking about you. Vishuddhyai, for the sake of purification, he starts doing it. Next comes the third shloka. Tavat sasarja manasa sanakam sanandam bhuyas sanatana munim cha sanat kumaram te srishti karmanitu tena niyujyamanaha tvatpada bhakti rasika jagruhurnavanim. Tavat saha sasarja manasa. Then Brahma, with his mind, after having created, with his mind, what did he create next? So he created the different jatis. We have the Manushya Jati, Tiryak Jati and so on. Then he also created the Panchavidha, which will generate a lot of problems. Fear, anger, attachment. Then he started thinking about Bhagavan's lotus feet as a prayaschittam. Then what happened? He says, Sanakam sanandam cha, manasa, with his mind, Sanakam sanandam bhuyaha. Sanaka, Sanandana were created. Sanatana Munim Sanat Kumaram cha. He also created Sanatana Muni and Sanat Kumara. Tetu niyujyamanaha tena. Then, although engaged by him, Brahma, Srishti Karmani na Jagruhu Vanin, in the work of creation, did not heed his words. Thereby, because Brahma has created Sanat Kumara, so he wants it to be like a chain reaction. So after having created them, bestowing knowledge on them, he says, you continue the Srishti, which means get married, produce children, grandchildren, so on and so forth. So he says, Tetu niyujyamanaha tena, Brahma having told them, even then, Srishti karmani na jagruhu vani. They were not interested in these advisory words of Brahma stating that marry, produce children. They were not interested. Tvatpada bhakti rasikaha. See, Brahma thought of Parabrahman Narayana's lotus feet and created these sons. So these four sons, Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanatana, Sanat Kumara, they were equally engaged in Bhagavan's lotus feet. Tvatpada bhakti rasikaha. See, that is very important. There's an important point here. Brahma, when he created, he thought of Bhagavan's feet and created Sanat Kumaras. Sanat Kumaras kept thinking of the feet. What is the point that Bhaṭṭatiri wants us to know? It is very important for the parents, when they come together to produce a child, to have good divine thoughts in their mind. Whatever divine thoughts they have will get translated into the quality of the child. See, a lot of the things is not there in the hands of parents these days, at all points in time. But it is very important for parents to keep thinking of Bhagavan to produce a child, because then only those qualities will be found in the child. Here, when Brahma did a prayaschittam for having created that raga, kopa, bhiti, so on and so forth, he thought of Bhagavan's feet and created Tvatpada bhakti rasikaha, being interested in the devotion to your lotus feet, he created. So, here Bhaṭṭatiri takes us through a journey where Brahma has begun creation. Alongside the creation, the 5 attributes which are not so desirable. Then again the creation of Sanat Kumaras. Now that Sanat Kumaras have refused, straight away refused, no, we cannot do any more. We are not interested in creation. Then what did Brahma do further? Those questions will be answered in the forthcoming episodes.
कल्याणरूपाय कलौ जनानां कल्याणदात्रे करुणासुधाब्दे कंवादिदिव्यायुधसत्कराय वातालयाधीश नमो नमस्ते। नारायण 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 नारायण